Good evening. 2 days in a row, I made it to 5:30. I have a lot of little things to tell you before we read the best chapter to finish it off. Because it's never too late until it's too late. If that doesn't make sense, it should. There we are. It's never too late until it's too late. All right, we got it straightened out about people who want to order books. Just so you know, Amazon is the best. Quick delivery, no hassles, but that's the way it is. You have been with me since April, some of you. I read my book in 2 months, and this book, a month and a half. 3.5 weeks of doing exactly what God told me to do. Read my books. He hasn't told me to stop either, but I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to read the table of contents to you tomorrow about 4 o'clock. Hi, James. I'm going to read the entire table of contents. It'll take about 15 minutes, and I'm going to read it at 4, but it'll be on Facebook, as usual, with everything else I've done and read. And then on the 19th, I'm going to start my book, because I'm doing a writer's workshop, 2-hour writer's seminar at my church, Jesus People Proclaim International Church in Deerfield. I'm doing a 2 hours how to get started writing on the 18th, and everyone is welcome. It's not just for church people or my friends. Everybody, I'm telling you now, on the 18th of July, if you want to go to a 2-hour workshop, 7 to 9 on Monday, how to get started writing, you're all welcome. And then on the 19th, I'm going to go back to my book, and I am seriously going to present you with an awful lot of questions that you have to either answer or not remember or not care. Because I am strictly doing information that will be, these stories are great, but the information, that's the value. Because it may not be where you are now, but it may be where you're going to be. So 24 chapters, 3.5 months. Save the best one for last, because every one of you has said, it's not over till it's over. It's not too late till it's too late. And 4 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to read the table of contents and start on the 19th. So my notes are done. I want to get into this chapter. And I thank you, all these new people. Hi, Lisa. My Lisa's in charge of my fan club. I have no fans, let's say, but I got a fan club. Miss Lisa O'Brien is my fan club president. She's going to hook me up to someone who wants to see these stories made into a series. All of you, everybody, all of you know what I want. If you've heard one time, I want a movie, I want a Netflix series on hospice, a talk show, and help with somebody in a big oral health care, big one, to come on board and take this initiative to buy battery-operated toothbrushes for HIV-positive dental patients. And it's an amazing campaign. Total health begins with oral health. All right, chapter 24, book, And I Held Their Hands with a Hospice Heart. A little chatter outside my door, but they shall go away. Probably the mailman came. Chapter 24, a son comes to his father's deathbed out of respect, but it was not because he loved him. I remember this guy flying through the hole, flying literally. So his son goes to his father's deathbed at the care center, but when he talks to me, it's not because he loved him. He did it out of respect. Honor thy father and mother, not to say love. Doesn't say love, that's an option. Honor. Quotation, I hope you're with your parents having fun, end quote. How's that? To be light and lively at the end of chapter 24. I hope you're having fun with your parents. Some of you are fortunate to still have your parents. No matter what's going on, you can make it better. One of you has to back down and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay? Good. That's done. My book, Committed to Love, not on the New York Times bestseller list, but you know what? I don't care. I'm getting to you. I am talking to Jack and Lisa and that other James, and I'm talking to the world. Are you ready now? chapter 24. A son comes to his father's deathbed, not out of respect, he didn't love him at all. Quote, I hope you're with your parents having fun, end quote. May 2000. I hope you can't hear that here. Can you think they can hear this? No. May 2000. Dear Jeff, because of my involvement with hospice, I've seen the many different kinds of relationships that parents and children share. None, however, was more special than the bond you had with your parents. It began when you were adopted at 6 months of age. You were their chosen baby, and you fulfilled all their dreams for the next 47 years. I met your parents when I was 11 years old. Even then, you had them eating out of the palm of your hand. It never mattered what you did. It wouldn't. Wait, let me just stop fidgeting with these papers. Here we go. And then even then, when you were 11, when I met you, you had them eating out of the palm of your hand. It never mattered what you did as long as you were all right. They gave you everything you wanted. They were wonderful people. But you never took advantage of their generosity. He was a good son, a really good son. The relationship went far beyond that of a parent and a child. You respected them, not only because they were your parents, but also because they were honorable and trustworthy people. Can you say that about your parents? I had an issue with my father. My mother was great. I was having the life I loved her. But my father and he never knew a day when I wasn't with him. When he needed me up in Troy, New York, back and forth from Boca for 10 years. He never knew a day that I wasn't up there and when taking him in and out of the hospital and doing everything. But I didn't love him. I honored him because he was my father. And there's such a big difference. You respected them, not only because they were your parents, but also because they were honorable and trustworthy people. They adored you, and their love went beyond love. They cared about you, not only as their child, but also as a man. They listened whenever you wanted to talk, and you listened whenever they wanted to speak. You respected and valued each one's opinions. They were there for you when you wanted their advice, but they never gave you it. They never gave you the advice unless you asked for it. That was an amazing relationship. You listened to them when they wanted him, and they listened to him, and he listened to them, and you were fortunate to have a father and a mother you could talk to, both equally. They would have accepted your bisexuality or homosexuality because they would have accepted you under any circumstance. They would always have been there for you. How many of you can say that? That if you went and told your parents, I'm bisexual, I'm a homosexual, what would they say? Could you deal with it? Some people get real radical now. What is the difference between loving, respecting, and honoring your parents? The definition of love means intense affection. Respect means to feel or show deferential regard for someone or something. Honor means esteem and respect and recognition. Honor thy father and mother. Are their meanings so very different? What meanings really separate these words? Aren't they feelings, and more importantly, aren't they choice? There we have the choices again. Should love come naturally, or should it be a choice? Should you know when you love someone or something because it feels right in your heart? What really is respect? Is it a duty that comes less from the heart and more out of obligation? That's with a hook with family. You feel obligated. They always say you didn't choose your family. No, but you still have to remove yourself of the obligation unless you really want to do it with your heart. If not, you're just giving lip service. That's what you want to do. That's okay. It's your life, your journey. But respect, honor, and love, they're all interchangeable. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions when I go back to reading my book. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions because I want you to think. If you don't want to think, don't tune me in. You're going to love the book the way I'm going to read the next one. All right, here we go. Should love come naturally or should it be a choice? Should you know when you love someone or something because it feels right in your heart? What really is respect? Is it a duty that comes less from your heart and more out of obligation? That word obligation can really screw your brain up. Is respect something that must be earned? You bet it is. Are you obligated to respect your parents because they are your parents? Are you obligated? It's an amazing word. Are you obligated to respect your parents because they are your parents? Do you honor them by recognizing them? Or do you respect them because you love them? These are some really intense questions that you can ask yourself before it's too late. Do you owe your parents anything because you were born? How about that? You gave birth to me, so what do I owe you? Do you owe your parents anything because you were born? Does birth guarantee that you must love them? I mean, these are really good questions. Does living dictate that you must respect them? Is parenthood the reason you honor them? Why should you love, respect, and honor your parents when they are dying if you did not do so when they were alive? Yeah. Why should you treat them any differently in death as you did in life? If they were dying, could you stay away? Could you deny yourself this one last chance to say goodbye? If your relationship ended long ago, could you live with your guilt? Guilt will kill you afterwards if you didn't make an attempt to be with them when they died. All these questions pertain to one thing and one thing only. Whether love, respect, or honor are feelings or choices, it is up to you. Healthy choices, like on my website, but healthy choices begin with you. You are given, hi Pam, you are given a choice in life. That's all. From the time you're born and once you're walking and you're peeing and you're done with all the stuff that you do when you're a kid. And you know, as an adult, especially an adult, and then what is an adult, 18 or 21? I could just be an adult. You have to make choices. I can choose to eat a hamburger. Doesn't mean I might not choke on it. I mean, choices are choices, and it all comes back to you. You must answer these questions honestly while your parents are alive, because your guilt and torment afterwards could make it even worse. You bet it will. Last night at the care center, this is the story now. We're good. Last night at the care center, I met a man who had severed the relationship with his father many years ago. When he heard that his father was dying, he had to decide whether to go to his father now or stay away. As I looked down the hallway, he was pulling 2 suitcases. His hair was disheveled, I could see him, his coat wrinkled, and his shoes made squeaky noises when he walked. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He stopped in front of me, dropped his bags, and shook his head. He didn't know what to do next. I said, hello, my name is Susan. I'm a volunteer. You either need a porter or a cup of coffee. He said, I just flew in. It was a long flight and I waited hours for a cab. I was told that my father's death was imminent. I said, please sign in. We'll find out what room your father's in, and I'll take you there. I'm here until 10 tonight. Once you've settled down, please come back and have a hot cup of coffee with me. 15 minutes later, he was back. I said, I'm here till 10. Once you've settled down, please come back and have a hot cup of coffee or tea with me. 15 minutes later, he was back. He made a cup of coffee and fell to the couch. He said, "I'm not physically tired. I'm mentally exhausted. I've known for several days that he was dying, but I didn't know whether I should come or not. It was a difficult decision to make. I was torn between what was right and what I felt was right. Once I decided to come, I couldn't get here soon enough." Ask yourself some questions, and if there's some bridges you burned, build them again. It was a difficult decision to make, and I was torn between what was right and what I felt was right. Once I decided to come, I didn't get here soon enough. I prayed that I'd get here on time. You might think this is a terrible thing to say, but I didn't come here because I loved my father, nor did I respect him. I did it to honor him because he was my father. Such a powerful statement. I did it to honor him because he was my father. No, I said, that's not a terrible thing to say. Other children, I stress other children, have said the same thing. I don't think that love, respect, and honor necessarily mean the same thing. What you think is all that matters. You must be true to your heart and do what's right for you. What is important is that you are here and you made it before he passed away. You were fortunate to still have the time. He said it was strange talking to him after all these years. I'm not sure if he could even hear me, but I knew I did the right thing by coming. He did. Was I wrong because I wanted a father that I could talk to and share things with? We just never had a good relationship. No matter what I did, he always managed to find fault with it. Boy, think you got some issues there? You think you have some issues there? No matter what I did, he always managed to find fault with it. I never remember him saying anything nice to me. He said I wasn't good in sports, couldn't play a musical instrument, that I was an average kid who wouldn't amount to much. What a wonderful thing for a parent to say. Isn't that nice? I tried so hard to please him, but I could never live up to his expectations. I was a young man with all sorts of issues to deal with, and a father who never had the time to talk to me. He kept telling me that I'd had to learn about life just like he had to do. I went to college to please him. and lived at home to help my parents out. One day I got tired of arguments, his negative attitude, and his hateful verbal abuse. I asked him why he never liked me. I asked him, "Why didn't you like me?" He said, "Some fathers and sons just don't get along." That's when I left and I never looked back. Something is all messed up with my phone. I'm telling you right now, something's wrong, but I'm going to keep going. My parents divorced several... here we go. So that's when I left and never looked back. It's been 25 years since we've seen each other. My parents divorced several years later, and I keep in touch with my mother. I thought about what to do for days, he said. I finally realized that I didn't have a choice. He was still my father, and I had to come. I wouldn't have been able to live with myself afterwards if I hadn't been there. I don't have any resentment or anger toward him for what happened, and I don't want any guilt later. He deserves to be honored as my father. I don't love him, but I do care. I said, "Would you like me to stay with you? We could sit in the room together." "Yes," he said. "Would you do that? I am uncomfortable." He's not a stranger, but in some ways he is. We went into the room and sat down. He never spoke another word to his father, who died 2 hours later. He sat with the man who gave him life and was there at his moment of death. The son closed his father's eyes, and sat quietly by his side. He said, "Thank you for being here. I feel like I completed something that I needed to do." I said, "You did the right thing. I wish you peace. Good night. He picked up his bags and walked down the hallway and left. This was a difficult decision for him to make. It took a lot of courage and compassion for him to come and see his father. He would continue to feel good about himself and the decision he has made, because he was at peace with his father and himself. The past was over, and whether he came out of love, respect, or honor, it wasn't important. What mattered was that he was here with his father when he died. Even when the situation is painful or emotionally disturbing, most children want to be with their dying parents. If it is not possible, whether by choice or circumstance, the child will have to live with those consequences of his or her behavior. If long-standing feelings of guilt are involved, guilt will kill you. If long-standing feelings of guilt are involved, then those problems will probably be made worse after the parents have died. Being with your parents at the time of their death can bring much comfort and peace of mind afterwards. If you answer with your heart, you will always make the right choice. Remember that the past is history and the present is a gift. I loved your parents because they were from the same time. I loved your parents because from the time we were married, this is me now, they accepted me as their daughter. They knew that I loved you, Jeff. They knew that I would always do the best I could to take care of you. I am thankful because they knew this for 25 years. They also knew that they weren't losing a son, but they were gaining a daughter. When you took ill, I didn't know how I was going to tell them. That's in my book. How do you tell your parents you got a life-threatening illness like AIDS? When you looked ill, I didn't know what I was going to tell them. They didn't know about your bisexuality. They didn't know about our lifestyle and the difficult decisions we'd made in order to keep our marriage together. Where would I begin? How could I tell them that their perfect child they adored, their son, had AIDS and could possibly die? How do I prepare them for the horror they were about to face? I called them to the hospital and said, Mom and Dad, your son, my husband, is gravely ill. If he is going to survive, he will need all of us. He will need all our love, our energy, and our strength. Together we can be here for him now because of the incredibly powerful relationship that we've all shared throughout the years. When they found out about your sexuality, they accepted you as if nothing had changed. That's because nothing had. Your relationship was based on one thing: love, unconditional love. You would always be their chosen baby. During your 2-year illness, we continued to spend as much time with them as we always had. I remember the beautiful cruise to Bermuda the 4 of us took. As it was throughout your life, they were with you when you died. They were with you, Jeff, when you died. They knew that you would have been there for them too. You would have made certain that no matter where you were or what the circumstances, you would have been at their side. No matter what the circumstances or the situation, he would have been there at their side. Thank you for loving them, respecting them, and honoring them. I'll say so long for a little while. I love you, Susan. The end for now. We have done a lot. One thing when you get with my books is you get me about the author, you get a bio, and there's pictures of my book of Jeff and myself on the website too. Some of you deserve a big gold star. 3.5 months. Yeah, hi Wendy. Some of you have become my fan club. That's exciting. I do not know why my phone goes nuts once in a while, but it does. And that's it. I saved you that one for last because I don't want you to go a day without at least saying you love them. Even if you don't, respect them. Even if you don't, you honor them because you are your parents. And if you can make a call before it's too late, do it. I'm just saying, do it to anybody you love. But parents especially, they still gave you life. And even if it wasn't your biological mother or father, they still gave you life. So I'm speaking about it's never too late until it's too late. That's it. He made it, that guy. He made it. Rushing down the hallway with 2 bags, a mess. He made there and his father died 2 hours later, but he was with him. I shall say, share all of this with your friends. I am on Facebook. All my readings from April 3rd. My hospice stories will be uploaded at some point. You'll have that book and my YouTube channel, which nobody goes to, but they're all there too. I just want to say I'm grateful. I will be reading the table of contents to you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I just want you to realize what you've listened to. And then I'm going to take a week off. As I said, I'll go back on the 19th because on the 18th I am doing a writer's workshop on a Monday night at my church. And it'll be wonderful. It'll be Monday the 18th from 7 to 9 at Jesus People Proclaim International. And we are international. Everyone welcome. Colors, ethnicities, whatever you want, just show up. That's it, my story, my darlings. I feel like we have done a major, and I have, that's what I will say. I did an assignment that God told me to do. I did, other than a couple of little timeouts where we needed to take care of some physical issues. We did commit to these books every day. And I thank you, whether you tuned in now or whether you go back. I just thank you for your time, your half an hour of very precious time that you have, and you shared it with me. So, I'm going to say shalom, hello, shalom, peace, and a real shalom goodbye, other than until tomorrow. Just real quick tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's because I'm going out to dinner with friends at 5. But I'm going to give you everything. I love you all dearly. I know people say they love, but I really do. I do love you, and you really have helped me to continue. If it wasn't for you every day, many of you being on Facebook while I'm doing this, I couldn't have done it. Because it's you who've shown me that I can. It's you on the other end of this phone who've told me I can't. It's you who've supported me when I didn't want to do it one day. No, I had a commitment. The commitment was to read to you this summer, and I will pick it back up on the 19th. But I have fulfilled this commitment for now. I love you. God bless you. May you have some peace. Have some peace. Have shalom peace. Hard to do, but necessary. So, with that, my hospice heart book is finished. Ta-da! God bless you all. I have to put finish now and pray it works. Here we go. Every time I'm hitting a button on a phone or an iPad or a computer, I just pray, oh, did I do it right? Because it's real hard to get this stuff back for me. Finish.